Hi, I'm Ronnie. Let's talk about stimming. Content warning. This video contains some discussion of self-harm and institutional abuse, so if you don't want to hear that today, maybe give this one a pass. Self-stimulatory behaviour, or stimming for short, refers to a collection of behaviours that autistic and neurodivergent people often need to do. There are a lot of reasons people may do it.
Stimming is for anybody that needs help regulating their senses or calming down or avoiding worse habits.
Stimming can present in all sorts of ways, such as rocking, chewing on things, flapping your hands, making noise, playing with toys, or just looking for stimulation in the environment. There are multiple theories as to why people need to stim, but it is a need. And despite being seen as weird, it's incredibly useful. In a first-of-its-kind study that actually interviewed autistic people about stimming, groundbreaking I know, none of the people interviewed said they disliked stimming. It's often considered cute in children, but it doesn't stop as you grow up, and in the adult world it can be considered unacceptable. Not stimming can cause anxiety and sensory overload, and often you simply don't have a choice and need to stim. You can only choose in what way. I joke that I stim literally all the time, but it's actually not far off the truth. When I was in school, I was encouraged to sit still, but if you have to stim, you have to stim. So I'd start blinking hard or twitching my head, and to the point where the teachers got concerned about it and brought it up to my parents. Even today, when I'm driving, sometimes I'll need to stim, and as my hands and feet are busy, I'll get the uncontrollable urge to blink in a way that wouldn't be safe when driving. And the only way I can stop myself is to redirect the stimming by doing it in another way. So, stimming can't be helped, but it can be redirected. People shouldn't be discouraged from stimming unless it's actively harmful. Occasionally, if I'm really stressed, I'll get the uncontrollable urge to just knock the frustration out of myself. And sometimes it helps, but it's usually better to redirect that energy into a less harmful activity. We've covered what stimming is and how it's basically harmless, but it is one of the most visible aspects of autism, and as a result, one of the most stigmatised. Autistic kids can be punished for stimming, and it can have serious consequences in the adult world. It's usually the first thing targeted by the anti-autism crowd, and people talk about optimal outcomes or even say things like, "My child stopped stimming so he isn't autistic anymore." But what they're really talking about is masking, which the child's been bullied into. Masking is when you learn to appear like you're not autistic, by copying the people around you. Trying to act like a neurotypical person means you need to micromanage all your behaviours and reactions, and it gets very stressful very fast. I don't mask as much as some people, but I still sometimes get the comment, "Wow, I wouldn't have even guessed you're autistic." Which, by the way, isn't the compliment you think it is. Autistic creator Faye Fahrenheit has an excellent video where she talks about these issues.
Autistic people do engage in involuntary body movements, which we are judged for and expected to stop engaging in, even though we may not even be consciously aware that we're doing it. People treat it like it's a behavior problem rather than a neurological problem. And when I have been in public, whether I've been at work or at grocery stores, so on and so forth, I've been profiled. I've had, people called the police because, I'm stimming, and they think that means that I'm on drugs or that I'm dangerous. I've been randomly submitted to drug testing at jobs because of the fact that I, have these unusual behaviors. And I have been fired from 3 jobs for, acting autistic, not in a way that hurt anybody, but just in a way that made me different.
I'd highly recommend checking out Faye's video in full. It covers a wide variety of topics, including masking, anti-autism eugenics, institutional torture of autistic people in America, and plenty of reports from non-verbal activists. Masking is exhausting. I can go out into the world and act cool and professional and not weird, but then I need to go home and rest and stim for the rest of the day, and maybe the day after too. In the same study I mentioned earlier, participants said that not stimming leaves autistic people more on edge, and while educators consider it a distraction, I and many other autistic people would say the opposite is true. It frees up your mind and allows you to focus on other things. When people talk about mild autism, that doesn't mean I experience my autism mildly. It means you experience my autism mildly. And when they talk about optimal outcomes, that doesn't mean they're optimal for the autistic people themselves. For many years, clinicians focused on eliminating stimming in extreme ways, such as using powerful antipsychotic drugs, physical abuse, or administering electric shocks to children who were stimming. Faye's video even shows footage of autistic teenagers being restrained and shocked, which I'm not going to show here for obvious reasons. In making this video, I hope I can do my part to raise awareness about the stigma against stimming. It isn't socially unacceptable because it's harmful, because it isn't in most cases. It's just not socially acceptable because it's weird, but everyone does it. If you're not autistic, I bet you still stim in some ways, be it twiddling your thumbs or playing with your hair. It's not just for neurodivergent people. So if stimming isn't hurting anyone, please don't ask people not to do it. Don't contribute to the stigma. If it is hurting someone, you can help redirect it. Stimming helps me regulate my senses, take my mind off things that are stressful, manage my anxiety, and not stimming is far more tiring than stimming. If you stop someone from stimming in one way, it's just going to come out in another. Even today, therapists often try to train children to have quiet hands, but who's that helping? Flappy hands are happy hands. This video was made in collaboration with Spectrum Management and Training and sponsored by Devon Partnership Trust. It's one of a pair, so be sure to check out the other video about sensory processing if you haven't already. I've shared my views and the views of other creators I enjoy, but the essential thing is to understand the perspectives and experiences of autistic individuals. Everyone is different after all. Thanks for watching. I hope that your day has the perfect amount of sensory regulation and that this video helps you relate to the autistic people in your life that little bit better.